Simple beer from a kit. Let's see how it goes coming up. Hi, I'm Bradley with 2B Brewing, and today we're going to do a Brewer's Best Continental Pilsner. Simple kit. Instructions are slightly different than some, but it is what it is. We're going to start with 3.3 pounds of extra light liquid malt extract. We also have a mix of crushed Pilsen malt and crushed Carapils malt. It's 12 ounces of the Pilsen and 4 ounces of the Carapils, 1 pound total. Also included is 2 pounds of Pilsen light dry malt extract. This does not go in at the beginning. This actually goes towards the end with 15 minutes left in the boil to help maintain color. Yes, that's what this recipe incorporates late malt additions to ensure proper color for this beer style. This is a lager recipe, so what's going to happen is we're going to ferment starting off at around the high mid-50s degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're going to bring it down to much colder temperatures. Also included in this kit is our yeast, which is Saflager S-23. We have 1 ounce of Czech Sazz hop pellets at 3.4 AA. 2 ounces are going to go in at the beginning of the boil, and then after 30 minutes we're going to do the last ounce of the hops, and then when there's 15 minutes left we're going to add in the 2 pounds of dry malt extract, and then we'll be done. And then what's cool with the kits, they include a bag of bottle caps, usually silver but sometimes they differ, and priming sugar. In this case they want you to use all 5 ounces of this priming sugar. Some recipes want you to use less than that. We'll see how it goes.
I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough.
Quick reminder, if you're opening your can of malt extract and you are not using a safety opener, you're not using a safety opener, these edges are sharp. That's why I'm wearing a glove. I just lightly sliced my thumb open a little bit. Oh well, the perils of home brewing. We've reached a boil. I've already pre-dissolved most of my liquid malt extract, and so I cut the heat because I want to make sure that I get all of this dissolved properly before I start turning up the heat again. See, look at that. There's still all that in there. I'm going to pull a little more of this hot water off, get that dissolved, and put it back in. We are at a boil, and we are going to now add in our 2 ounce packets of our Czech hops.
I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by it.
These will boil for 30 minutes before we add our next hops. Time to add in the last hops and our dry malt extract. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hops in and then move the bag to the side and then add in the malt extract while I work on getting that to dissolve.
Always have a vision. I don't lie at night. I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine. Need time and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
Once I get this all dissolved, I will then get this back to going to a boil, and we will start our 15 minutes for our next set of hops until... Oh, shoot. I messed up. I was supposed to do the hops and not the malt extract. Wow. I guess this beer might end up being a little darker than it needs to be. Oops. Oh well. I know I read the instructions. You saw me read the instructions. I failed to double check and pay attention. Well, here we go. We'll do another 30-minute boil once I get this dissolved, and we'll see how it goes. Reach the end of the boil. I'm going to drain the hops. And then we will get this cooled and in the fermenter to add our yeast. Today we're sampling a Continental Pilsner. Smells good from the bottle. That's a pretty color. Smells good. Tastes like a nice clean beer. There's a slight extra bitterness hit to it. Can't think of what it is. Something my wife doesn't quite always like. Well, it's a little bit of a. I can't figure out if it's a bitterness or a tang. It's just a little sharp hit. It's still tasty and drinkable. Not one my wife would go for. But, I think this beer turned out well. I'm happy and pleased with it. If you like this video, give it a huge thumbs up. If you want to know more brewing tips, how-tos, and whatever else I'm on the move for, I've got some ideas to maybe fix this tang bitterness hit, which I'll show in a future video. Hit that subscribe button so you're notified of the next video. I'm Bradley with 2B Brewing. We'll see you next time.